This episode, we take you aboard one of the newest and most expensive cruise ships in the world, the Cunard Queen Anne, on a journey to one of the most stunning cruise destinations you could imagine. To keep up with the 21st century and compete with all the other cruise lines, they've had to reinvent themselves just a little bit, go more modern, with features and facilities they've never had before, whether that be good or not, and give you an honest insight into Cunard's biggest and shiniest. This is the Ritzy Travel Guide Cruise Diary for the Queen Anne. Hi, welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill, and it's great to have you along with us. Now, last episode, we presented to you our ship's guide and review to the Queen Anne, where we took you deck by deck, showed you just about everything, and gave you our summary. This episode is a little bit different because it's our Cruise Diary series, where we take you much more behind the scenes, give you more insights and observations of our sailing. And you'll be able to imagine it's you there. And most importantly, you'll be able to decide if you like the ship, because it's not for everybody, no ship is. And we've got so much to show you. You'll see the highs and lows of our cruise.
Come on,
Pardon?
I had the biggest blooper this morning.
Why? Some aspects of Queen Anne we really liked, some less so.
So immediate note to self, actually the breakfast is far better in the Artisans Food hall than it is in the main dining room.
Totally agree.
And apart from the ship, we're also going to show you some of the ports of call we visited, because they were absolutely stunning. In fact, some of the best we've visited for many a year.
I think this is the most beautiful port I've ever been into. It's absolutely stunning.
By the end, you may want to visit them as well. Now, this is the first new launch for Cunard for 14 years. They only had 3 ships in their fleet prior to this, so Anne makes it 4. By cruise standards, that's really quite small. It makes Cunard almost boutique. Up until now, Cunard has always been seen as very traditional, almost a little old-fashioned perhaps, and the loyal fan base has liked this part. But as with anything in life, you do have to remain solvent, and the directive came down from Carnival, the parent company of Cunard, that the next ship had to be more modern, more contemporary, and appeal to a wider passenger base. So let's take you aboard, and we're going to start with our cabins first, because we didn't show that in episode 1, and we had a bit of a decision to make, because originally we weren't booked on this cruise. We were supposed to be on it 4 weeks earlier, but family commitments meant we had to reschedule, and when we looked to book a new date, all the cabins had gone, apart from the interior, inside cabins, so we had a decision. Do we book an inside cabin, even though we had originally planned a balcony, or do we cancel the whole idea? And we thought, why not? Over 25 years of cruising, we've tried cabins of all shapes and sizes. Let's book an inside cabin. Would we regret that? Let's find out. Here we go, day 1, embarkation. Let's get ourselves aboard. So we were sailing from Southampton in England. 7 nights aboard Cunard's newest and shiniest.
And the adventure begins.
We're ready for a bit of Cunard.
As always, exciting to get aboard. Cunard staff in their red pillboxes. And before we got to the cabin, we wanted to have a quick look at the main section of the ship. Now these are the parts that have come in for quite a lot of stick in early reviews. Chatter has been about Queen Anne being not Cunard enough, not feeling sumptuous, not feeling luxurious. How do we feel our first few steps on board? Well, yes, the look has changed quite a lot from the Queen Mary II, Elizabeth and Victoria. There is a lot more metal and glass. An initial score in my mind was a sort of 7 out of 10. And we had a quick peep at the Britannia dining room too. From the upper deck, quite a lot of silver, with big gold columns and ceilings jumping out at you. At that point I really wasn't quite sure, but we wanted more time aboard. We'll come back to the main dining room. Meantime though, we needed to drop our bags off at the cabin. Supposed to be a balcony, but we changed our dates. We'd now gone for an inside. Good or bad decision? Here we go, look at the carpet. you've got the arrows going in various directions. It will point you in the direction of the nearest lift. So if you've had one too many of an evening on a dark and stormy night, very clever.
People can't remember where the lift is.
It's a smart carpet.
Decided to go for the smallest cabin.
Yes.
In the newest ship.
Yes.
So the contrast, you shall see.
All right, here we go. Cabin 1114.
It's a bit tight.
It is a bit tiny, isn't it? Tiny or tight, did you say?
You better not eat too much. It's tight, however, I think the bed is decent sized.
Now, okay, have you got a cat to see if you can swing it? Because I think you need one as a point of reference.
It's quite a you have a bottle.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes, it's a half-size bottle to go with a half-size cabin. I'm just going to come out and go back in again because I want to show this. Look, okay, here we go. In the door. I don't think I've ever been in a ship where the first thing you do is you bump the door against the bed. I mean, that literally, that is the clearance. Look, there, look, see, look. There, look.
You have 4 inches before you hit the bed.
You have 4 inches between the door and the bed.
Well, a very good afternoon.
Oh, very good afternoon. Who is this?
Welcome aboard the beautiful and elegant Queen Anne. My name is Michael Harvey, Entertainment Director, and I am pleased to welcome you aboard our beautiful ship.
All right, okay. Well, I'm not sure we've ever had a cabin quite as small as this. Let me get past you so I can get a view of the cabin. I should have brought a fisheye lens with me. Right, there we are. Okay. Let's just admire the nice embroidery, the nice Cunard silk velvet cushion. We've got 2 little diminutive bedside cabinets, brass effect bedside lights. Let's have a look at the socketry. All right, we've got a US socket, we've got some USB, USB-C, and some British plugs. Little miniature light there.
Challenge number 1 is putting your suitcases away. So, how good are you at Tetris?
Now, this is going to be interesting because this cabin was already a squeeze with nobody in it. Now, with these suitcases, how are they going to get in? Look, there. Okay, there's the space. I mean, let me squeeze past you so I can have a look at what you're looking at. You can't see. No.
Can you go back a bit?
I can't go back. I've got nowhere to go back to. We've got a safe. For once, okay, good news. We've actually got wide safe. Put your laptop in. In fact, that's the widest part of this cabin. The laptop compartment.
Oh my god.
Yes? That's going to happen, I think, in here. You've got some hanging space there. All the way down to there, so you can get your long gowns in. You've got some more hanging down there. You got another cupboard there.
We do have fluffy gowns.
Okay.
It's a very fluffy
Nice and
gowns.
fluffy.
Are you ready for the bathroom?
I am. Right, let's have a look. Okay, big reveal. Come with me into the bathroom.
Oh.
Doesn't sound quite right, that does it? Okay, follow me for a tour of the bathroom. Right, I have to say, actually, the most spacious part of this cabin is the bathroom. Let's sleep in the bathroom. Hey, look, can I just tell you, it's actually quite nice.
I can see through the gap.
Can you see through the gap? There, it's actually quite nice. Here we go. Now, see what I mean about it being spacious. It's actually one of the more spacious parts. Nice big bright mirror, nice shower, and no shower curtain. We've got a nice glass panel. Okay, should we do a height test? I'm not that tall. I'm only 5'10". So there we are. So if you're 6 foot, you'll be able to get underneath. So as you can see, the inside cabin was a lot smaller than we'd expected. We've been on inside cabins on plenty of ships, indeed on other Cunard ships, and the inside cabins felt a lot more spacious than this. I think it's partly due to the configuration. It was the layout of the cupboards leading to the side of the bathroom. It meant that the space that was left over by the bed area really was so tight. For us, if we're being honest, it felt very cramped. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, as it lets us know we're on the right track and you'd like to see more of this type of material. We'll be showing you other cabin grades later in this video, including right to the top, a Queen's Grill Suite. So watch out for that coming up later in this video. In the meantime, we wanted to wander out to the deck areas, see how they looked. Here's the pavilion pool. So whilst it's -5 points for the cabin, it's absolutely plus 25 points for the pool area. Personally, we really liked it. Got a retractable roof and a sort of retro two-tone colour scheme to it. The whole area wraps around you on 3 levels, and there's quite a lot of seating, unlike other cruise lines. There's some jacuzzis, some big, some too small, put some bigger ones in. And there's the wellness cafe. We're going to try out breakfast later on in this video, so you can see how that feels. We then took a look at the outside pool right at the aft, as it was coming up to Sailaway time. Southampton, truth be told, is never a glamorous place to sail away from. It's no Sydney Harbour with the Opera House, or Montego Bay, or arriving in Monte Carlo. But hey-ho, there are worse places. So we were off. Now let me show you one of the new venues on Queen Anne that none of the other Cunard ships have. In fact, there are a few outlets that are unique. There are some specialty dining outlets, more on these later. But what I want to show you now is the Bright Lights Society. In a video I made a few months ago, before the launch, Cunard was running through some of the outlets we could expect on Queen Anne, and the Bright Lights was one of them. It's part cabaret show lounge, part music venue. So we were very keen to try it out. Here's what we found.
And where are we tonight? We're at the Bright Light Society, this new cabaret club. Can you hear that slightly jazzy music in the background? It's a sort of whodunit musical comedy drama. It's slightly interactive. Nobody quite knows what to expect.
And then the show begins. Each cruise has a different theme. For us, it was an immersive murder mystery musical. The various characters parade around the audience as if you were part of the cast, introducing themselves and inviting audience participation. It's like an Agatha Christie, but on steroids and set to music. A murder takes place. A detective leaps into action, suspects just about everybody in the audience, and eventually the murder's solved. But that's not really the point. It's an opportunity to have a sing, have a giggle, a real feel-good evening. Think of it as a rousing members bar with sing-alongs. It's harmless and a great evening out. So there we go, we really enjoyed it. No, it's not serious theatre, no, it's not Shakespeare, but it's a lot of fun, and we personally think it is a welcome addition to Queen Anne. Next morning, we were due to arrive at our first port of call, and our kids, who were travelling with us, they don't often, but they fancied going to Scandinavia, said, why don't we try out room service? Now, seeing as they were in an inside cabin, our immediate reaction was, is this a good idea? But we said, why not? In a moment, we'll see how that went for them, as they had no room to swing a cat, let alone a breadbasket. But first, we had to arrive in port.
Well, good morning. It's bright and early. It's 6:30 a.m. I know we're early risers, and we're just arriving in Stavanger. So I thought we might take an early morning stroll to see what we can find. We've got a few keen, diligent swimmers up, doing their laps, swimming for their respective countries. How about those for prime waterfront apartments? Would you like one of those? Fantastic view out to the harbour. Well, all this sea air has made me rather peckish. Feel like some breakfast buffet. Should we take a peep and see what's on offer? Oh, look at this. Piles and piles of bacon and sausages and all things naughty but delicious. And some black pudding, that famous Scottish meal. Oh, I've just seen this public health advisory. What can that to say? Beware. You may consume some calories here. Serious calories. All sorts of fattening things on a bun. Corned beef hash and some scrambled eggs and some mushrooms. Good morning. All things looking amazing. They look very good, but my wife would kill me if I took one of those. Here she is. She's by the healthy counter. It might as well say up there, healthy. Should I stand next to her? And then by association, people might think I'm healthy too. Compote with yogurt is your all-time favourite. Here we go. Well, first on my platter, we have some avocado on toast, which is going to be made freshly as we wait. With some sriracha sauce. That's going to be peppy, that's going to be spicy. Thank you. It's going to wake me up in the morning, isn't it? Better show this to my wife immediately. She'll be impressed. I've started off very healthy. Where is she? We need to advise her of my healthiness. You're going to be impressed with me. I've started very, very healthy. Look, avocado on toast. How about that? Do I get some marks out of 10 for that one?
It was much better than the one I had in the dining room yesterday.
It is?
It was a boring bread with avocado, literally just avocado and one egg on top. This is a much better avocado on toast.
What have you got there?
Mango and coconut.
Is that what it is? That's very nicely done, isn't it?
I was just about to leave the breakfast buffet when I saw an Eggs Benedict out of the corner of my eye.
All right, now, I might get my knuckles wrapped for this one. I've got an Eggs Benedict. It's one of these prepared ones, one of these ready-made ones. It's always interesting to try one that's been sitting there for, I don't know, half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll pretend to my wife that it's healthy. I'll declare it is healthy. Let's see what she says. I'm not sure I'm going to get away with this one. Let's see. Okay, remember, gang, it's healthy, healthy. Here we go, look. I've gone healthy again.
Hollandaise.
Hollandaise. Well, the egg's healthy, look, you see, look, and it's a healthy-looking bat.
Why didn't you just say the spinach was healthier?
Yes, they are. Healthy, healthy. Well done, me. What's that we hear? The sound of me patting myself on my back.
So whilst my wife and I enjoyed a buffet breakfast, don't forget our kids had organised room service. Let's go down to their cabin with a cat to swing and see how it went.
Son and daughter, I think.
Yes, that's it, yes.
Ah.
Let's rap loudly. Wake them up with purpose and intent.
I think they...
Oh, hi, guys.
Oh my god! Hit the door.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, when you do that, you come in here, you're bound to hit something with the door. What do we think? What's our initial impressions of the cabin?
Do you know what? You've got more room than us.
Let's have a look at the differences. Well, these two single beds, I think, do actually make a little bit of difference. I think you've got more floor space than the other cabin. You can actually walk around.
Food hadn't quite arrived, so my wife had to get on the blower to find out what happened. It ended up being almost an hour late, but hey-ho, it did eventually come.
I see room service heading our way at top speed. I hear the rattling of a trolley. Top speed!
Breakfast in bed.
Let's have a look.
As is often the case with room service on any cruise line, the orders seem to be separated out and come on multiple plates for some reason, making it look like you'd ordered for 55 people, not 2.
I have a side of baked beans and tomatoes.
Yeah, one sausage.
That's a very economy
They did say
breakfast.
it was a side of tomatoes.
It's on the side.
How about that? Snug as a bug.
Unless you're very, very flexible, don't ask.
For breakfast in bed. Is this almost yoga in bed?
You have to lie down and eat like this. Like this. That would be the correct level.
So, very tight on an inside cabin, but well done Cunard for still offering complimentary room service. Now, we were just about to go ashore on our first port of call when my wife summoned me down to guest relations.
What?
I had the biggest blooper this morning.
Why?
I discovered that I had someone else's suitcase under our bed
What?
for 2 days.
Huh?
Anyway, to cut the long story short, I met this lady and she thanked me profusely. But anyway,
We've had
the
somebody else's suitcase.
is returned and the status quo is good.
But how did we have somebody else's suitcase in our
Another
cabin?
story, but she has had her suitcase. Oh my god.
So, mix up sorted, suitcase returned to its rightful owner, it was time to go ashore. Our first port of call was in Stavanger, Norway.
Right, here we go, Stavanger. A bit of essential maintenance going on here. Quite a fun job, that one. Are we ready for a bit of Norway?
Sun is on.
It's unseasonably warm, actually. It's about 23 or 24, that's about 75, and very happy to be in balmy subtropical conditions in Norway today. Nice spring-like weather. Well, for those who come from Miami, you probably think it's winter, but for Norway, it's positively heatwave. Beautiful harbour front, isn't it?
There they
Now, in case you've never been to Stavanger and going on a Norwegian Fjords Cruise, it's one of the few towns you'll come to. A lot of the other stops are far more remote. And we're firmly in Viking territory here. It's where they came from 1,000 years ago. Even the local soccer club is called Viking FC. And because the cruise ships dock right in town, and I mean right in the centre, you don't need an expensive ship tour. In seconds, you're in the heart. The day we were there was a pretty market. It's also a perfect time to stock up on your cruise souvenirs and knickknacks, especially trolls.
Oh, aren't they cute? So sweet, look at that. Aren't they gorgeous?
Stavanger is also famous for its really cutesy wooden houses and shops. You could spend hours ambling along, being swept up in the prettiness of it all. And the Norwegians are so friendly and welcoming, you don't get hassled at all.
Okay, while I'm here, do I need some Norwegian fashions? Do I need to be on deck tonight for the captain's cocktail party, looking a little bit Norwegian? Do I look jaunty?
Here's Øvre Holmgate. I hope I've pronounced that one right. Locals call it the Street of Colours. It's so full of life and vibrance. Don't forget to stroll the back lanes of the old quarter of town. It's so photogenic. You can't help but take photos.
How cute and sweet are these? You feel like instantly going to an Airbnb and seeing if they're available.
See what I mean about cruise ships being right in the centre? How close do you want to be? You could almost jump down from your balcony and land in a coffee shop. It was a really nice day in Stavanger. We didn't take a tour because it just isn't necessary. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be taking you to some jaw-dropping stops later on in our Fjords cruise. We then back to the ship and the aft deck. Beautiful vista looking down on the city. We do like a Sailaway. So the next morning we were awake bright and early as we had a sea day ahead of us. We were keen to find out what was going on outside. Sea days are when Cunard comes into its own because there's often a lot of activities put on. Seeing as we had an inside cabin, the only way we could find out what the weather was like outside was to turn on the TV and see the deck cam. It was sunny and reasonably warm.
Right, when on a sea day, must take part in activities. Cunard is famous for its deckside activities, almost like it was back in the day when you had nothing else to do, came out to take the fresh sea air, the bracing sea air. Right, okay, we're up on the top deck. Let's call it the sports deck, the athletic deck, the Olympic Games deck, where we've got a variety of sports on offer here. We've got everything from deck rides to shuffleboard to mini golf and ping pong. Top quality ping pong match going on here. We'll have a go at that in a minute. Serious competition, serious concentration going on. We're on the links. First tee, Old Course, St Andrews. You've got the right golfing attire on, why not? In the 1920s, the ladies wore golfing attire like that. Loose as a goose. I'm sure that was 250 yards down the centre of the fairway with a 1 iron. Why not come up here in the breeze and slim our waistline down after all those millions of calories that have somehow inadvertently, accidentally got put on our plate. Right, well, it's coming up to 12:30, starting to feel a bit peckish. Anyone feel like a pub lunch? Well, on Cunard, they're all called the Golden Lion, and the one here on Queen Anne actually is one of the largest. They've learned from in the past when everybody says there's nowhere near enough capacity, so they've made it bigger. And you've got to get here early because it's one of the most popular places on board the ship. Don't expect to roll up at the last minute and get a seat. No, you won't get a seat at the last minute.
Lunch menu.
Yes. And I think Fishman's pie sounds good for me. What's sounding good for you?
Black pudding and sausage. No, wait, hang on a minute. Because it sounds interesting,
Yes.
I'll have the Jolly Hog, black pudding and apple sausage. No, I think I'm going to order the fish and chips without the chips.
Huh?
Yes, Jolly Hog. Jolly, jolly good.
And after all that, she ordered the fish pie. It did look very good. Nice, cheesy, baked top to it. We then ordered a selection of items to test out as much as possible.
Oh, Scotch egg incoming.
That is an ostrich.
It's a mackerel-filled Scotch egg, so coated with fried goodness.
Including the perennial favourite, fish and chips.
We have a little parcel of fish and chips. It's almost like a sausage roll of fish. We have a mushroom and chicken pie with mashed potatoes and some seasonal vegetables. Being Cunard, it's carrots and broccoli.
And sausages and gravy, known to Brits as bangers and mash. And to eliminate any chance whatsoever of being hungry, dessert was ordered.
A treacle tart, and an apple crumble for all the world that looks like the fish pie just now.
So how do we rate the Golden Lion? Well, pretty good. It's reliable. It's been serving the same type of food for many years, and people go back. In a moment, back to our sea day, but first, just to let you know what's in the pipeline for our channel here on the Ritzy Travel Guide. In a couple of weeks, depending on when you're watching this, we'll be aboard Holland America, their flagship in fact, the Rotterdam. It was launched just a couple of years ago and is their newest and bestest. And it will be interesting to review it because it's almost identical to the Cunard Queen Anne in shape and form. Both are owned by Carnival and are pinnacle class ships. But the interiors and facilities are quite different. For years, Holland America and Cunard have been sort of rivals. So which one is best? That's what we want to find out. So we'll be aboard for 12 nights. We'll be cruising from Florida to Central America and the Panama Canal. Always a fascinating route and itinerary. We'll have a full series on Holland America and we'll be bringing that to the Ritzy Travel Guide channel. Now, completely different to that, couldn't be more different, we just came off a cruise with Virgin Voyages. Trust me, it was eye-opening. So very different from almost every other cruise line out there. It was loud, brash and colourful. And it has the types of shows that you never normally see on a cruise. But I tell you what, Virgin is packing in the passengers. They are becoming unbelievably popular. A lot of people seem to like it. We tried out everything on Virgin, whether we wanted to or not. By the end, we felt quite shaken and stirred. That series will be coming out in a few weeks' time. So remember to subscribe to our channel so you know when that video comes out. Subscription is free, it doesn't cost you anything, it just lets you know the schedule and when the new videos come.
Everybody seems a bit shocked.
Right, having just eaten food, we thought, why not go and look at some more? And Cunard likes to put on activities to keep you busy while you're at sea, so for us, it was off to the theatre to watch a MasterChef. None other than the reasonably world-renowned Michel Roux Jr., he of La Gavroche restaurant fame. So we all sat there with rapt attention, imagining we were capable of cooking it too. Completely enamoured by all of this, my wife felt she needed to buy his book immediately on the spot. So we had to line up almost all afternoon to get it signed.
You're going to sit and have your photo taken with Michel Roux. Why not?
That's why I'm queuing so long.
That is why you're queuing so long. It's been a 1-hour queue.
And while waiting for him, dream up the ultimate flattery line to deliver.
This is 10 times better than the Gordon Ramsay.
Of course it is. these are tried and tested.
Telling him that he's better than Gordon Ramsay is guaranteed to get on his good side. In the meantime, looking and talking about food had made us hungry all over again, so he's off to the Carinthia cafe to have some tea and cakes. Now, in video 1 we didn't show you the Carinthia, so let's whisk you there now.
Well, here's the Cafe Carinthia, or the Carinthia Lounge as it's called on some of the other Cunard ships. The light bites are complimentary, free of charge whichever way you want to look at it, but the drinks are speciality and an additional cost.
Well, look at that. We've just been to the Michel book signing, which quite conveniently happens to be right opposite the Carinthia Lounge.
I think if you have to choose one meal to sample Cafe Carinthia, go for afternoon tea.
I think you should, because they're very delicately done, look.
Absolutely next level.
It's lemon curd. It is strong and strident and yummy.
Now, you know my wife well enough by now. If I eat cake, I have to immediately pay penance and take those calories off. So she sent me immediately to boot camp in the Queen's Room and Chairobics.
11 participants. And Bill is still the only guy in the class.
Oh my god, I'm out of sync.
It's not dance class, it's Chairobics. So I made the executive decision to sign Bill for this task.
There we go. Pointy toes. My years of professional ballet training coming into use here. You'd almost take me for John Travolta, couldn't you?
Just to let you know, a quick note about our channel. Here at the Ritzy Travel Guide, we're now on Instagram. I know it's been a long time coming. So if you want to know what we're up to almost in real time between our YouTube videos going out, you can check and find us here on Instagram, also under the name Ritzy Travel Guide. And I've put a link in the bio and description of this video. So follow us along on Instagram. Right, would you like to see a gala evening? Because one of the most searched questions online is, how formal is Cunard? What do I need to wear? What do I need to bring? Will I enjoy it? Is it too stuffy? So, perfect opportunity to show how formal night or gala evening is on the Cunard Queen Anne. Here we go, and yes, Cunard fans do like to dress up. For many, the gala nights are the highlight of the cruise, and typically there are 2 per week. But if you haven't been on a Cunard cruise before, please don't worry. It's nowhere near as foreboding as you might think. Yes, in days gone by, Cunard was very formal. Here you can see how it was in the 1950s. Everyone dripping in jewellery and dressed as if for a royal occasion. Fast forward to now, and it's much more easygoing. If you go to the formal sections of the ship, such as the dining room and the principal bars, Cunard do politely request you to dress up. Typically for men, that means putting on a tux or a dark jacket, or a kilt if you're Scottish, or indeed formal national costume. And ladies, a ball gown, cocktail dress, or smart attire. But it's nowhere near as stuffy as it used to be. I would say on this particular cruise, about half the men dressed up in tux or evening jacket. Less formal on Queen Anne, I would say, than on the other 3 Cunard ships. Here we are, dressed up for the masquerade ball. Always one of the more fun ones, I think. We started off in the chart room for a pre-dinner drink and a couple of photos, before heading off towards the main dining room. My daughter really was quite nervous as she walked through the ship, not knowing what to expect. But there is something special about drifting through a Cunard ship on gala night. So few other cruise lines do it like this anymore. And arriving in the Britannia dining room. Now, gala evening is the best evening to go to the main dining room, as they make far more effort with the menu. If you're looking to book a speciality restaurant during your cruise, I would do it on any other night, because gala night has the best food in the main dining room. And here's a little bit of what we ate over the 2 gala evenings.
We have the appetizer, which is the pork belly with shrimp.
Surf and turf, peeled tiger prawns, beautiful filet mignon. I mean, it really is beautifully presented.
Isn't it just? And halibut. Oh, we got some additional mustard sauces. And we've got horseradish and mustard. Coming along, ladle that on. Ladle on the sauce. Cunard always does well on gala nights. Steps it up just a notch.
Salmon with prawns, shellfish bisque, peppers, and spinach.
I have some beef Wellington, also known as beef en croûte in a variety of places. I have to say, that is a very, very good beef Wellington. Cunard has perfected beef Wellington. I can't think of the last time I was on Cunard and it was a bad beef Wellington.
And an old tradition still going strong, petit fours after the dessert course, just to make sure you're well and truly stuffed. After dinner, it's nice to head to the Queen's Room, as the big band will be out. And it's a lovely venue to have an after-dinner drink and watch the floor buzz with dancing. The Queen's Room, though, is smaller on Queen Anne, so you will need to get there early to secure that seat. And once you have it, glue yourself down. Apart from ballroom dancing, Cunard is also getting a bit more daring. Partway through, they're now trying out a bit of aerial acrobatics and entertainment. They've never done this before. and it's probably in response to the other cruise lines who've been doing something similar for quite a few years. On one evening, they had a sort of James Bond-style high-wire act. Now, I do applaud Cunard for finally trying something new and introducing this. It's been much needed for quite some time. And as we were cruising in the land of the midnight sun, in the Norwegian Fjords, it was the perfect opportunity to head up to the very top of the ship and get some family pictures. Our family don't often cruise with us, and it was lovely to snap away. The evening sky was just right, and the backdrop lent itself beautifully. Always remember to take time to create some family memories. You'll be thankful you did. Okay, next morning we were due to arrive in one of the most scenic ports of call on a Norwegian Fjord cruise, and that is to the town of Olden. Here we are at 6 a.m, so worth getting up early in the morning to watch us glide in. For over the next 2 hours, we had the most breathtaking views, gorgeous Norwegian villages, and past dramatic waterfalls. When you see the fjords in magazines, they don't do it justice. There in person, everything pops out. Towering hills and mountains, and the most calm, serene waterways underneath. It's all totally magical. You can understand how cruise ships love to come here, as it delivers on the promise that arriving via water gives the most dramatic viewpoints.
How glorious is that? Makes it all worthwhile getting up early to film it as we go by. Isn't it absolutely beautiful?
You almost wonder how a ship of this size can get down the fjords, because once they get to the end, they have to do a 180-degree turn, as was the case here, as Olden is at the end of the fjord, and you need to turn round so you can get out later on in the evening.
Everybody craning to get a view, to see what we're arriving at. What can you hear? Almost nothing. That's what's so wonderful. Right, well, we've watched the fjords drift by for a bit. Starting to get a bit peckish. Time for breakfast. Now, where should we go? We could go to the buffet, or we could go to the main dining room. But we thought we'd try out here, Deck 10, the Wellness Cafe. Now, there's a variety of options. You can take your breakfast in around the ship. It's a very restful place to start the day, actually. The first couple of days we were in different restaurants. We thought we'd give this one a try, and why not? It's great to try out the different venues. We've already got some early morning swimmers. Quite right. Why not swim through the fjords? Only inside rather than outside. Might be cold to swim outside in the fjords. Do it inside and watch it go by through the windows as you're doing your breaststroke. How about that? Breaststroke by the fjords. It's almost a YouTube channel, isn't it? Hashtag breaststroke by the fjords. So let's give it a whirl. Let's try it out. Absolutely cheek by jowl, as you can see. There are a whole variety of healthy options. Breakfast, you could have 5 grain date and tamarind porridge, or coconut yogurt and strawberry. Do you feel like apricot harissa onion tofu? I'm sure it's all delicious. Right, good morning, I'm ready. I'm ready here with my order. Could I have some toasted sourdough? Is it toasted sourdough? Well, I've done mine. I've gone for scrambled eggs on sourdough with some yogurt with coconut and strawberry.
Yes, I'll have the coconut.
Oh, I've influenced my wife. That's highly unusual. She would normally do the exact opposite of what I ordered, because normally I order something very unhealthy. Gold star for me. I've done the right thing. Inadvertently. Right, well, order placed. I've been given a bleeper. It's going to bleep me. So when something strange happens in my pocket, that goes off. Then we'll know it's time for breakfast. I do have to say I quite like the idea. I quite like the interior design. The way this has been done. It almost harks back a little bit to the 1920s and 30s, don't you think, with the blue and the white? I think it's got a certain amount of panache, a certain amount of style. Ah, breakfast time. Here we are, look. Well, here we go. And what's that sound you hear? It's the sound of a gold medal going round my neck for being very healthy this morning. Look there. How can we say that's not anything other than healthy?
And I've gone for a Coke yogurt with peach and ginger compote and seeds beautifully laid.
And that one? I went for that one. That's a wild rice and cinnamon and all things oriental sounding in there.
So, feeling practically angelic after that healthy breakfast, it was time to wander into Olden. Now, I'm going to show you just a couple of minutes of it because this is mostly a ship video, but I think you're going to want to see it because it really is special.
Oh, how pretty does Olden look? Camera's immediately out. It's like a natural reaction when you arrive and it's somewhere as beautiful as this. Ship one side, fjord the other. Amazing looming bearing above us.
Now, there are various excursions you can take in Olden, but we chose to take a trail to the foot of a glacier. It's a really popular visit, and it's called the Briksdal Glacier. And it's very straightforward to get there. It's a 45-minute coach journey. And on the way, you get to see some breathtaking scenery. The fjords at their absolute best. It's interesting to look at the GPS on my phone to see how far inland the fjords go, and that we sailed to get there. It's quite a long way in. Just about every corner, you're greeted with views you realise you were right to come and see. This is why you book a Norwegian cruise. The bus journey takes you through incredible landscapes, past azure blue lakes and little farm buildings so typical of Norway. Majestic mountains arise on either side, with shimmering waterfalls cascading down. 45 minutes later, you see the thunder of the rivers, and you know you must be close.
Look what's above us! Glacier view up there! It's a very strange sensation. The wind is swirling around, you can hear it swooping. It's a bit like we're in some sort of vortex. Like we're inside a Dyson vacuum cleaner. That's what it feels like.
The force of the water is amazing. Nature at its best.
The absolute power of that water as it comes thundering down.
I then had the idea, why not try a sip of fresh water? It might taste great, right? And against all ideas of safety, we crept down to the riverbank to try it out. I know, it's a bit crazy. That would be a raging rapid ride you get at a theme park, except here it's for real. The water tasted as fresh as you could imagine.
Right, into the face of the storm, into the face of the waterfall we go. Can you hear it crashing? Can you hear the sound of that? Oh my goodness. Kid on adult coming across. Yeah, we're going. Let's be brave. The majesty of it. You don't get in the way of that. I tell you what, in the line of fire, you get quite wet. This is Bill from the Ritzy Travel Guide, getting totally and utterly soaked. The power of it, the majesty of it. There we go. There's the view. The glacier at the top. Absolutely worth taking the walk up. If you're able-bodied, if you're fit enough, you really should come up here and see the majesty of the glacier.
Fantastic day out. It's really so beautiful. As it happened, we were back in time for afternoon tea. Such an iconic event on any Cunard ship. Would you like to see how that went? Here we go. We got ourselves to the Queen's room in plenty of time to snag a table. I got there 30 minutes before. And top tip, go to tea on a port day, as it's far less busy. On a sea day, there would have been lines and queues out that door.
Now, it's always interesting to see the china, isn't it? We'd like to see what Cunard is using. Let's turn it upside down. There we are, monogrammed proudly with Cunard. Let's also have a look under the plate. There we are. Doesn't that look smart?
And at precisely 3:30 p.m, in marched the staff. When people book Cunard, this is frequently mentioned as the reason why. The quintessential delights of relaxing and letting the stress of life ease away. It's a lovely way to spend an hour, whether you're hungry or not. Tea is available at other outlets aboard, such as the Artisans Food Hall, but here in the Queen's Room is probably the most authentic way to partake.
What have you got there?
Alright, sir, so here we have the strawberry shoot. The next one is the fruit cake. The one in the jar is the lemon meringue. And we have the vanilla fruit tart. And the last one is the coffee and chocolate cream slice.
And don't forget, if you're in a grill suite, you can have it in the Princess restaurant. You just sit back and relax as an assortment of sweet and savoury dishes is brought to you. If there's a reason to book Cunard, this is one of the best. Later that evening, we were back out on deck to watch our Sailaway. It was a delight. The local town waved us off and played music over the town speakers to serenade us out of port. We were almost teary-eyed as opera music played over the speakers.
It's an absolutely gorgeous evening as we leave Olden. I tell you what, if you get the chance, Olden isn't on a lot of itineraries, but if you see it, it's one to come to because it's a beautiful setting, fabulous reasons to come to Olden. Meantime, we're heading for dinner. All that hiking has made us super ravenous. And I wonder what's on tonight's evening buffet. Should we go and find out?
So we've got Indonesian chicken curry with sambal and rice.
Right. Okay, let's give that a go. Let's get some of that. It looks very good. Lee, what have we got on tonight's dinner?
Oh, what do we have? We have salmon Wellington, we have lamb, and we have potato. And we have that and quinoa, we have beef stew, and green beans, cauliflower.
Can I also compliment you on your outfit? That is the most pressed, the most white-looking uniform I have seen behind a kitchen for a long time.
I need to be very careful.
No spillage. We got sambal chicken.
Indonesian sambal chicken.
Indonesian. Wow, look at that. Okay, let's look at the crispness. Doesn't that look crispy?
It looks very good. The rice looks
Okay. All right, next counter. Where are we going to next? Where are we headed off to next? And today's roast is a bit of lamb. Oh, hang on. Is that roast beef or is that lamb?
Yeah, beef.
That's roast beef. And today's roast.
Plate this.
Yes. The plate is so full. Can we not take any more? All right. Look at that.
I reckon that's a good selection of nibbles.
That's a good selection of nibbles. Let's now head to the dessert section, see what we can get. Will we be tempted by some cheeses? Oh, we've got some Taleggio, that famous Italian cheese. We've got some double Gloucester, some Dorset Red. Cornish Yarg. I've never heard of Cornish Yarg. Anybody heard of Cornish Yarg? All right, desserts. What's on the dessert counter? Which is the best one?
I love the hazelnut.
You love the hazelnut? Let's have a look at the hazelnut. And you're modelling it beautifully.
Yeah, thank you. Would you like some?
I'll take that one.
Enjoy, sir.
That's delicious. We might come back for some more.
Yeah, would you like some jelly?
And the product of our imagination. Let's have a little lazy Susan. It is salmon en croûte.
Oh my god.
And that amazing Indonesian looking chicken.
It's so authentic. I don't normally go for second dinners.
Yes.
But then there was a guy there who said he has come back for thirds. It was that good. I had to stop. And I have to say, he was absolutely right.
Wow. That was worth the calories.
Meantime, as we were in the land of the midnight sun, it was still bright outside. And from the Commodore Club, the vista was beguiling. Outside, even more so. Clouds blanketing the mountains from behind us, and in front, shimmering skies.
How glorious does that look as we slowly slip away from Olden, heading back towards the North Sea. Absolutely fabulous, isn't it?
And just at that moment, a shaft of light peeped through the clouds, giving the most ethereal effect. At moments like this, you know why you come cruising. It's simply magical.
Almost to 11 o'clock at night. Sun still hasn't set. Isn't that beautiful, shimmering over the water? Look at that. Isn't that absolutely what you come on a cruise for?
Still to come, one of the most dramatic and photogenic ports we have visited anywhere in the world. But first, let's show you some more cabins. Earlier on, we showed you the inside cabin. Let's now go to the complete opposite extreme and show you one of the most expensive in the Queen's Grill. And whilst we were aboard, we met a delightful couple called Clive and Therese, and they very kindly let us film inside their cabin. Here we go, this is suite number 7255. For those who want exact details, this is a Category Q6 with Cunard. It's on deck 7, and they can officially accommodate up to 3 guests. And it is spacious at 484 square feet. And to save you getting out your calculator, that's 3.2 times bigger than the inside cabin we had that we showed you earlier on. And they boast a Sealy brand Cunard bed. You also get a pillow concierge menu with a variety of types to choose from. There's a spacious balcony, which we'll get onto in a minute. And don't forget, these suites come with a butler at hand. So if your hats aren't quite straight on that hat shelf, or the quilt isn't to your liking, your butler can rush in and make your day just so. You also get a complimentary minibar stocked with your favourite choice of beer, wine, spirits and soft drinks. And outside on the balcony, it's huge, with a prime view right out to sea, and also around the side. It's extremely spacious for the said 2 or 3 occupants. You could do your morning yoga out here, or practice triple jump. Excellent balcony. Back inside, and here's the bathroom. And I think this has been done very nicely, like an upmarket hotel. It sets just the right tone, and it is spacious. Is this bathroom alone bigger than our inside cabin? And don't forget, these suite cabins also grant you access to the Queen's Grill restaurant and lounge, the pinnacle of Cunard dining. Take a look at video 1 of our Queen Anne coverage, where we show you that. We will be showing you more cabins in our upcoming video 3, which is where we compare all the Cunard ships, and that's going to be a really interesting one. But first, we do want to show you just a little bit of our favourite port stop of all of them on our cruise, and that's to the delightful Geiranger.
And good morning, welcome. Another early start, it's 6:30, and this one is absolutely worth getting out of bed for. It's one of the most picturesque arrivals you can get in Europe. In fact, it's been rated so. It's been rated the most pretty arrival at a port in Europe on numerous occasions, where we're talking about Geiranger. And the towering landscape that we're seeing is absolutely remarkable. We are so close, you can almost stick your arm out and touch it. Not quite, but you feel like you can. And we've got this amazing mist, this low cloud shrouding everything around us. You almost feel like the clouds are touching the top of the ship. And we're not alone. Look at that. Who's peeping round the corner? We have another cruise ship also arriving at Geiranger this morning. I wonder who that is. Can we recognize it from here? It's the Viking Venus, that's who it is.
You can absolutely understand why the approach to Geiranger is so often featured in travel magazines and reviews. if there's just a handful of mornings on any cruise around the world that you must cart yourself out of bed for, this is absolutely in the top 10.
Look at everybody standing up whatever they can, the tables, the chairs, any type of furniture to get a view over the glass, because there's high glass at the front, trying to get the best view as we arrive.
And once you've arrived, a clever pontoon called the Seawalk is floated into place, allowing you to stroll off the ship. Very innovative, very clever.
Right, are we ready for a bit of Geiranger? There's a positive spring in one's stride when you've got a fantastic view like this to welcome you. It's one of the most beautiful ports to sail into, isn't it?
You know, one of the most beautiful bays I've been into is Haugesund Bay. And as far as cruising is concerned, I would say this is amongst the most beautiful port stops. It's absolutely stunning.
This exact setting has been featured in so many cruise publications, and I can understand why. It's so calm, so serene. We then strolled around the village of Geiranger, visited the shops there, and then headed up into the mountains. Like Olden, it's so picturesque. Viewpoints all the way up. And these stairs are as good as any workout you'll get at a gym. But it's all worth it for the views from the top. And we'll show you more of Geiranger and the other stops in this fjord cruise in a dedicated future episode. So, did we enjoy our cruise? Absolutely yes, and we are Cunard fans. As other cruise lines seek to fill their ships ever more with theme park attractions, roller coasters and arcade halls, Cunard is one of the few that still cruises the traditional way. And particularly their ships really excel at giving you that feeling of space. You never feel crowded. Wherever you walk or sit, it's been thoughtfully worked out, and they never feel full. So much of the opposition is guilty of overloading their ships, reducing the enjoyment and making it chaotic. Not here. And we do like their new outlets. The Bright Light Society particularly is a lot of fun, and could easily be rolled out to other ships in the fleet. The 4 new dining outlets, Tramonto, Aranya, Ajiwa and the Wellness Cafe are good additions, and give much needed variety. As mentioned before, we think they've done a cracking job with the deck areas, both at the pavilion pool in the centre with its retractable roof, and at the aft pool, which has really been jazzed up. Compared to other queens, there's far more seating, it's now as good as some of the other cruise lines' decks. Now, there is no such thing as the perfect ship, there never is, and in our video 1 on the Queen Anne released a couple of weeks ago, we went through both the pluses and the minuses, some ideas for tweaks and changes that could be made that we feel might make a lot of sense. It could then be a world-beating ship. I'll give you the link for that video in just a moment. But that aside, we remain really optimistic for Cunard. It's so important in the cruising landscape to have variety, and Cunard has a place in this for those wanting traditional, honest cruising. For us, we had an amazing time. So many of the venues Cunard has got right. And as is often the case with the cruise, we made some fantastic memories. It was also a gorgeous destination. If you get the chance and have not yet been to the Norwegian Fjords, absolutely do, because in a few years they are talking about restricting access. Go there before that happens. We do hope you've enjoyed this Cruise Diary edition. If you feel there's something we haven't got quite right, or we missed out, or could have said slightly differently, please do leave a comment down in the box. We always love to hear from people. Here is our link to video 1, our full review and verdict on the Cunard Queen Anne, and here is our playlist for all of our Cunard ship reviews. Thank you so much for joining us on the Ritzy Travel Guide. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us, and we'll see you in one of those.